Hello Star Wars fans and collectors, it's me, Jedi Master 98, back again with another Star Wars video. In today's Star Wars video, we're going to be taking a look now at my Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker movie review. Now, what I'm going to do for you today is I'm just going to briefly go over the events that happened in Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. This video was meant to be uploaded earlier after the release of The Rise of Skywalker, but I thought I'll just let everyone see it, let people get to terms on what they think about the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker trilogy as a whole, and I thought, why not just do my review now? It's April of 2020, the DVD on Blu-ray and everything has come out in America back at the end of March, and it won't be coming out in the UK for at least a couple of weeks, so I thought I'd just give you my movie review on it. I'm just going to go over in brief aspects on what I thought of the film as a whole and character development and what they could have done better and so forth. But I will be doing a Star Wars live stream in full detail, hopefully towards the end of April. But if you do subscribe to my channel, you'll see it on there and all the other live streams I've done from the films and the TV shows. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So first thoughts of seeing The Rise of Skywalker when I left the cinema for the last time of watching the sequel trilogy. I was impressed with the film as a whole. I thought there was different aspects from all obviously 9 films put together and everything. I thought the film was good. I thought the character development was very good as well. I enjoyed the music that was in the film, and overall there's just the storyline as well. I mean, a lot of people were hesitant on what happened after the events of The Last Jedi, but I was very confident going into the Rise of Skywalker to see what JJ had to offer, and it may be not to people's standards in a way, but I thought the film was delivered really well. There was, as I mentioned, there's good aspects of all the different eras of Star Wars being placed into the film. A few Easter eggs here and there, i.e. John Williams popping up, the droid's head and so forth that you can see in the film. I thought the storyline was fine. Obviously the Sith Wayfinder that kicked the film off, and obviously Kylo Ren going to Exegol and finding Palpatine, with obviously all the different development plans going on there with the cloning system of Snoke, and obviously in mentioning that he's every fault inside Kylo's head, so I thought that was good. I thought Rey as a character developed really well in the film, seeing how her skills have progressed through The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Finn, Poe were good in it. I really enjoyed their character development as well, seeing how they rose through the ranks as kind of sort of a brothership / bromance in a way, to see how they handle things as well. And obviously we see in the film what happens to them when obviously they obviously changed their regimental status in the film to generals and that lot, because obviously they've been fighting the First Order for a while now. I did like the new villain that was in the film, General Pride. I thought he was very cool, played by Richard E. Grant. He kind of reminded me of Grand Admiral Thrawn in a way, but I thought it was very cool what happened to his story in the film. Obviously we know the fate of the First Order in this recent Star Wars film. I thought he was very cool, and obviously it's funny what happened to him and Hux in it. What happened with that scene, that was quite funny. Chewbacca was Chewie, same as usual, doing his bit for the rebellion, doing his part. That was really cool of Chewie. Really pleased to see him alongside also Lando Calrissian, a fan favourite from The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So it was good to see Billy D. Williams back on the big screen again. Very cool to see him in the Falcon, piloting his beloved Falcon before Han Solo got hold of it. Who else? I really did like Kylo Ren's story in this film. I thought no matter what people say about Rey being, oh, she's such a sort of great force ability young lady who can obviously use the Force in certain ways, and obviously do her thing with obviously controlling her enemies, and obviously trying to figure out what path she wants to lead through. The sequel trilogy is not really based on Rey, in my personal opinion. It's based on the rise and the fall and the redemption of Kylo Ren. As we see in The Force Awakens, he's obviously this egotistic young man who wants to finish his grandfather's legacy in The Force Awakens, and we see what happens to him at the end by getting injured. And in The Last Jedi, he wants redemption. He wants sort of revenge. He wants to try and prove his master wrong what has happened. And then when we see in the Rise of Skywalker, he's literally everything put into one. He's got his redemption. He's got hopefully some of his revenge that he wanted to. And then we see how this young man changes and how he becomes from an evil man to a young, redeemed Jedi in a way, to think, right, what I've done is wrong. I'll listen to my father's advice instead of not listen to any of it in the past and just go from there and stick with it. I thought it was very cool how they handled that. But yeah, the character development was fine in the film. I really enjoyed that. Certain other characters popping up as well, old and new, and obviously in the sequel trilogy as well. I thought the dueling and the lightsaber fights between Rey and Kylo was cool. I thought the one where they were fighting on the old Death Star could have included a lot more music in it, i.e. Duel of the Fates or Battle of the Heroes or something, mixture along with that. That would have been pretty cool. But the dueling was really cool. Obviously with the dueling as well and the music, it does make it as an iconic scene. As we know, the Battle of the Heroes from Revenge of the Sith, and obviously Duel of the Fates from The Phantom Menace, and obviously I don't know, the Return of the Jedi, where Luke jumps and obviously catches his lightsaber on the Sarlacc pit. It's just aspects like that always makes the films and everything. But yeah, I thought the dueling was fine. The fighting was cool. The dialogue was good. Emotionally, the Star Wars film did catch obviously a lot of people. Obviously, as we go into the film, we see obviously what happens to Princess Leia and obviously the rest of Resistance, and what happens to the galaxy, what state are they really in. So emotionally, they handled that really well. The characters obviously shared the sad scenes together, and they acted it really well on obviously behalf of the actors' roles. I thought they were very cool. Obviously the saga as a whole, obviously the saga's been going ever since 1977, when obviously George Lucas released A New Hope in May of 1977 in cinemas. And if I was to sum up the Star Wars saga, it's obviously been unpredictable and outstanding to see characters and obviously actors and actresses go out their way and go through different roles and experiences when it comes to discovering and filming Star Wars films and TV shows, and obviously all other things they do. But as a whole of the Skywalker saga film trilogy, all the 9 films put together, I think that Star Wars can look back at it and think they've done a pretty good job of it. Obviously the sequel trilogy has had a lot of stick in certain aspects of it, same with obviously the some parts of the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. But as a whole, I have been impressed with the sequel trilogy. I thought there's certain things that could have been avoided, i.e. in The Last Jedi, and probably certain bits in The Force Awakens or The Rise of Skywalker, but that's a talk for another time. But obviously with the emotion and everything that Star Wars brings to the table, it just brings emotion, love and friends and family together. We can just sit down, enjoy a Star Wars film and just get on with it, because Star Wars is just a thing that just brings people together. It makes people happy, and it just gets you away from all the grief and all the stuff that's happening in the world, and just brings people and just brings the balance together. And yeah, obviously, as I said, The Force Awakens was great. The first Star Wars film in 10 years, going with all my mates and everything. That was great, really enjoyed that. Obviously, The Last Jedi was a completely different experience, where I did enjoy the film, but I had mixed feelings coming out of that. Whereas I've left the cinema in The Rise of Skywalker and thought, right, they've ended it well, a job well done. So that was something different. And obviously, as we know, they brought back Palpatine, which was obviously unexpected at first. I was thinking, why are you bringing him back? Because obviously he just died on the Death Star and everything. But Palpatine was cool in it. They didn't use him too much as a main antagonist, which was quite cool. Obviously with Kylo Ren's story going on, and obviously him using the Sith holocron to find the planet of Exegol when he's fighting on Mustafar. But apart from that, I've been very impressed with the Rise of Skywalker. Emotionally, it was good. The storyline was good. The character development was fine. There's certain aspects of it that could have been changed, i.e. music and certain aspects of it. But apart from that, I really did enjoy this film, and I will be going over it in detail in future videos. But apart from that, I'm happy with what they've done. And obviously it's just such a shame that the Skywalker trilogy has come to an end. But as I said in other videos, and obviously things been said before, all good things must come to an end, and the Skywalker trilogy, they've done quite well with it. It's brought fans and people together, and overall I'm very happy with all the 3 recent films that have come out, and obviously all the 9 films put together to make it one great Star Wars saga, which is the Skywalker saga, or the Skywalker trilogy. But apart from that, pleased with it. I hope you've enjoyed this movie review. I've gone over things as best I can and everything. I hope you can obviously respect people's opinions on the Skywalker trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and the original trilogy. But apart from that, we're Star Wars fans. We get on with things. It brings people together. Obviously, the hate and stuff doesn't need it, and obviously what's happening in the world with things going bad and things going well, you don't need it. Star Wars just brings people together, and it just brings you together to enjoy things that are magical and great for science fiction. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my Star Wars movie review on the Rise of Skywalker. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I'll be back with many more Star Wars reviews very soon. Be sure to obviously subscribe to the channel, follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and as always, take care, look after yourself, and may the Force be with you.